is the leg times the square root of 2. So to go in reverse of that, obviously, would be to do what? If you go from the leg to the hypotenuse and you multiply by square root of 2, because it says x squared root of 2. So this is leg to hypotenuse multiply by square root of 2. To go reverse, to go from hypotenuse to leg, what would we do? Divide. Divide by square root of 2. And so just remember, these are our legs. This is our hypotenuse. All right, then you had a 30, 60, 90 right triangle was the other special right triangle. And in this one, the legs are not the same. So we had the leg across from the 30-degree angle. This is, I like to call it the short leg. The one across from the 60-degree angle is the long leg. And then, of course, this is hypotenuse. I feel like I'm choking in this mass today. So here you can see if we're looking at short leg is kind of the one that controls everything. So to go from the short to the hypotenuse, so to go from x to 2x, what do they do? You're short to hypotenuse. Multiply by 2. Not rocket science. You can see short to the long. Short to long. What happened? Multiply by square root of 3. And then you've got those two in reverse. So you can go hypotenuse to short, which will be divide by 2. And then go long to short, divide by square root of 3. So notice there's no rule directly that takes you from hypotenuse to long. You always had to go through the short leg when doing these. And so let's just quickly run through a few, make sure we got it. Right triangle. That's number 1. All right, so if we have this 45, 45, 90 right triangle, and I tell you that this one side here is 8, what side is that? It's a leg. So if I'm finding the rest of the sides, how would I do that? Okay, so this would be what, 8 squared root of 2? Yep, so that would be the hypotenuse. What about this leg here? It's also 8, yep. So simple enough for that one. All right, let's see. What if we said this was 6? Hypotenuse was 6. By square root of what? 2, right. So to go hypotenuse to the legs, we're going to divide by square root of 2. So this is 6 divided by square root of 2. But we cannot leave that square root in the denominator. And so like we kind of did on Friday, we're rationalizing. We want to get rid of it. So we're going to multiply numerator and denominator by that square root there. So let's see, for my numerator, that's going to give me 6 square root of 2. For my denominator, I have square root of 2 times square root of 2, which is just 2. And then coefficient 6 and 2 can be simplified into 3. So this is 3 square roots of 2. And that would be for both legs. Okay, let's see. What about this one? Let's try and okay, let's go with so this time we got 30, 60, 90, and this side that's been given to us is what part? All right, which leg? The short one. All right. So we got the short leg. So we got to get hypotenuse. We got to get long leg. It doesn't matter which one we find first. I'll probably go with hypotenuse is probably the easier one because all we have to do is multiply by 2. Whoa. So this is going to be 2 times 3 square roots of 2. These coefficients 2 and 3 we can multiply and we end up getting 6 square roots of 2. Then to go short to long leg, we're multiplied by the square root of 3. So then here you can multiply the numbers that are underneath the square roots. So that would be 6. So we end up with 3 square roots of 6. Let's see, let's go with okay, so what side's been given to us here? Yep, the long leg, okay. So the long leg is what we have. So if we had the long leg, we have to go where next? We have to go to the short. We can't go to the hypotenuse because there's no rule that takes us directly there. So to go from long leg to short leg, we do what? All right, so 5 square roots of 10 divided by square root of 3. And we can't leave the square root of 3 in the denominator, so we're going to rationalize. So for the numerator, it gives me 5 square roots of 30. And the denominator, square root of 3 and square root of 3 is just 3. Can any of that be simplified? You might thought 30, but think about it, it's 2 times 3 times 5, right? There's no pair of anything there. So this is just going to stay 5 square roots of 30 over 3. And then now I can go to hypotenuse now that we have the short, and I could do that how? All right, so 2 times 5 square roots of 30 over 3. And you can think of this as 2 over 1. With fractions, we multiply straight across.